Once upon a time, there was a beaver living in the forest named Furry. He had lots of friends and liked to play outside. One day a big wolf came and started saying, "This is my forest, and I am bigger and stronger than you. So you will have to move out of the forest by tomorrow, or I will destroy your house." Later that night, Furry and his friends were thinking what to do. Furry suggested that they should build a trap to catch the wolf and teach him a lesson that there is somebody stronger than him. The beavers decided it would be a deep hole covered with sticks on it. One of the beavers exclaimed, "How are we going to do that?" Furry suggested that they could ask the rabbits for help to build the trap. About 1 hour later, the beavers went to the rabbit's burrow and explained what was going to happen tomorrow in the morning. The rabbits agreed to help. It took them the entire night, but they finished it by the morning. In the morning, they all hid up in the trees. The wolf came and barked at them to pack their bags and leave the forest immediately. Since the wolf wasn't looking where he was going, he fell into the trap. All the animals came and saw that the wolf was trapped in the hole. The wolf kept asking so they could let him out of the hole, but Furry said, "We would have, but since you have been so mean to us, we will not let you out of the hole." Then the wolf promised that he will never tell them to move out of the forest and be mean to them. Furry and his friends forgave the wolf, and they got a big stick and dropped it down the hole so that the wolf could climb out. Moral of the story: don't be mean to others, or you will get it back. Once in a jungle, a big bear and a naughty monkey were great friends. They used to have a lot of fun together. However, the monkey always used to copy the bear. He wanted to become just like his friend. One day, when they were sitting together, the monkey again started to copy him. On seeing this, the bear asked, "My dear friend monkey, why are you copying me?" "You are so big and strong, bear. I want to become just like you," the monkey replied. "You are so spry and active. Don't think about what I am. You are awesome too," the bear told his friend. Suddenly, the bear spotted a big pot of honey near the mango tree. The bear ran at once and grabbed the fresh pot of honey. I am going to have great fun with it," he said, licking his hand. "Bear, can I have some of it?" asked the monkey. The bear gave the monkey a small gulp of honey. The monkey loved the taste of it, but Monkey was disappointed with his friend because he had given him a very small gulp of honey. The bear told him that this much was enough for the monkey. Soon the bear picked up the pot and hid it in his den before someone else could steal it. "Bear never gives me honey. I think that is the secret of his strength. But this time, I'll not let him keep his secret," the monkey thought to himself. He quietly entered the bear's den and stole the pot of honey. The next day, Bear went in search of his friend. The bear went to Monkey's house to check if the monkey was doing well. The monkey was suffering from acute stomachache. When the bear saw the empty pot of honey, he understood what exactly had happened. The monkey was crying out of pain and said, "I just wanted to be like you." To this, the bear said, "You can't be me by simply copying me. Only we bear can digest so much of honey. That's why I gave you a little bit." Immediately, the bear called the doctor to comfort his friend. Since then, the monkey never tried to copy anyone. He had learned his lesson. Moral of the story: copying others blindly can be very harmful. The stag story. A stag was once drinking water at a pool. He saw his own reflection in the clear water. He admired his beautiful horns, but he did not like his lean, thin legs. One day, a lion began to chase him. He ran into the jungle to save himself. His legs soon carried him far from the lion, but his horns were caught fast in a bush. Despite his best efforts, he could not free himself. Now he felt that his ugly legs were of great help to him, but his beautiful horns were the reason for him to suffer. Moral of the story: all that glitters is not gold. The Farmer and the Crane story. One day, a hunter set a net to catch birds and placed grains over the net. After some time, a flock of pigeons comes by and starts eating grains, getting caught in the net. They tried to escape but could not fly. They started to lose hope. Then their leader asked them to fly together up in the sky. They did as they were told and carried the net away. The hunter ran after them, but they fled to their friend's mouse hole. The mouse asked them, "What happened to you all?" The pigeons narrated the entire story. The mouse cut the net with his friends and set the pigeons free. Moral of the story: unity is strength.
Once upon a time, in a desert far away, there was a rose who was so proud of her beautiful looks. Her only complaint was growing next to an ugly cactus. Every day, the beautiful rose would insult and mock the cactus on his looks, all while the cactus remained quiet. All the other plants nearby tried to make the rose see sense, but she was too swayed by her own looks. One scorching summer, the desert became dry and there was no water left for the plants. The rose quickly began to wilt. Her beautiful petals dried up, losing their lush color. Looking to the cactus, she saw a sparrow dip his beak into the cactus to drink some water. Though ashamed, the rose asked the cactus if she could have some water. The kind cactus readily agreed, helping them both through the tough summer as friends. Morale of the story: never judge anyone by the way they look.
Once upon a time there lived a washerman in the town. He had 2 pets, a dog and a donkey. The dog used to keep watch on his house the whole day long. The donkey used to carry the washerman's load to and from the riverside. One night the washerman was sleeping soundly, and a thief came into the house. The dog, too, was fast asleep, so he did not bark at the thief, but the donkey was awake. He saw the thief and thought to awaken his master, so he began to bray loudly. The thief ran away in fear. On listening the braying of the donkey, the washerman could not sleep. He came out and could not understand why he was braying. To make him quiet, he started beating the donkey with a stick, but the washerman's house was saved. One day, a yucky pig was drenching himself in a lake. A thirsty lion came to drink the water, but due to bad odor he went away. The crazy pig thought that the lion is afraid of pig and challenged him for a fight. "Maybe tomorrow," replied the lion, and turned away from the stinky pig. The pig went back his home and told everything to his parents. "What have you done to yourself, stupid pig? It's not you but your foul odor that made the lion ran away," explained his father. The yucky pig's excitement broke into pieces straight away. His father suggested that he should deliberately roll in the dirty water so that he might stink more and more and then meet the lion. The pig agreed and listened to his father. As soon as the lion approached the pig, the foul odor spread all around, and the lion could not near it, and he ran away. Since then, pigs always keep themselves dirty so that no animal might come near them. Once there was a fox and a stork. The fox was selfish, but he decided to invite the stork for dinner. The invitation made Stork very delighted, and she arrived at the fox's house on time, knocking on the door with her long beak. The fox escorted her to the supper table and gave them both soup in shallow bowls. She couldn't eat any soup since the bowl was too shallow for her. The fox, on the other hand, quickly lapped up his soup. The stork was upset and irritated, but she didn't show it. She asked the fox to supper the next day to teach him a lesson. She served soup in 2 tall thin vases as well. The stork sipped the soup from the vase, but the fox was unable to do so due to his small neck. The fox realized he had made a mistake. Moral of the story: never be selfish. One day, a group of birds were flying in search of food. They were being led by their king. They flew the whole day long, but could not get anything to eat. In the evening, they took shelter on a tree. The next morning, the king divided the birds into 4 groups and asked them to go in 4 different directions and look for food grains. The birds flew in different directions and started looking for food. They all got tidbits to eat. They also saved some for the king. One of the birds got separated from her group and she flew a little further. She reached a tree which was on a freeway. She saw cartloads of food grains passing on the road. One of the bags of the grain was torn, and grains were scattered on the road. There was enough grains on the road for the entire group. She thought of flying back and telling the king about what she had found. But on a second thought, she decided not to tell the king. If I tell him, he will come here with all the birds. I want all this grain for myself, she thought. She had her fill of the grains and took some for the king. The king was pleased, as the grains were superb. He asked her where she got the grains. She told him the truth about the freeway. Hearing her, all the birds were happy. The king told them that next day they could all go to the freeway and collect grains. But the birds said, "It is very dangerous to collect food from there. The road is very busy. Carts and vehicles pass over it every moment. We may get crushed under the wheels of the cart. I risked my life to get these grains. It will be better that we don't go there." The king liked her sound advice and decided to look for food elsewhere. However, the little bird flew to the freeway every day and had her fill of grains. On her way back, she would collect some food for the king and come back to her nest. One day, in her eagerness to eat more grains, she got crushed under the wheels of a cart. Evening arrived and she did not return to her nest. All the birds got worried about her. They reported the matter to the king. The king told them to go and search for her. He also went out to look for her. Soon, he came upon the freeway and found her body lying in the middle of the road. He could understand the reason for her death. He understood her greedy and selfish nature. She had advised others not to go to the freeway so that she could eat all the grains herself. However, she became a victim of her greed and selfishness. One day, a big and beautiful deer was wandering in the jungle. He was looking for food. He wanted to eat something different than what he ate every day. While wandering, he came to the outskirt of the jungle. There, he saw a fruit-laden tree. He had never tasted such fruits before, so he cautiously ate one. The fruit was very sweet and luscious. The deer started coming to that fruit tree every day. He gave up eating all other plants that grew in the jungle. He would eat only the fruits of that particular tree. A hunter lived in the nearby village. He used to go to the forest every day and pass by that tree. One day, as he was returning from the jungle, he saw the footmarks of the deer. He was glad to see the footmarks and stood watching them. After some time, he saw the deer enjoying the tasty fruits of the tree. The hunter made up his mind to catch the deer. "He is so big and beautiful. He will fetch me a lot of money," he thought. The hunter came back to the tree next morning and hid himself among the branches of a nearby tree. He intended to kill the deer with his bow and arrow. After about an hour, the deer arrived. He was a very clever and cautious deer. He saw human footprints on the wet soil. Therefore, he did not go near the fruit tree. Instead, he stood watching for any sign of the human being. He spoke to the fruit tree. "My dear talking tree, why didn't you welcome me today? Why are you not dropping your fruits for me today? Are you angry with me? Have I offended you by my misconduct?" Hearing the deer speak, the hunter plucked some fruits from the fruit tree and threw them towards the deer. The deer was now sure that a hunter was lying in wait for him. He said to the tree, "It appears that you are not in a mood to talk with me today. Therefore, you have thrown the fruits without welcoming me. I can't accept the fruits as you are annoyed. I will come back only when you are in a pleasant mood." So saying, he hid himself behind the tall bush that grew nearby. The hunter was quite disappointed. He aimed an arrow at the deer. However, the arrow missed him. The deer ran swiftly and disappeared into the thick forest. He had outwitted the hunter.
Once upon a time, a little ant and a grasshopper lived together in a rocky green area. It was spring, and the grasshopper was having fun, playing and singing. But the ant was working hard. It was collecting food and storing it in its house. The grasshopper asked the ant to play with him, but the ant told him that she is collecting food to eat in the winter. The grasshopper laughed at the ant and told her to not worry about the future. The ant ignored him and continued working hard. Winter came and the grasshopper did not find any food to eat. It starved and became very weak. The grasshopper knew that he should have prepared himself for the winter when there was plenty of food in the spring, and realized its mistake. Once upon a time, there lived an elephant in a jungle. He was very arrogant and short-tempered. He was very proud of his strength and huge body. The other animals in the jungle feared him a lot. He enjoyed doing things that showed off his strength and always troubled other small animals in the jungle. In that jungle, there also lived a family of ants in a tiny hole. The ant used to despise the elephant for his haughty nature. One day, when the ants were away to collect food, the elephant stopped them and sprayed a trunk full of water on them. The ants got angry and said, "You should not trouble others for your pleasure." The elephant shouted angrily and said, "You tiny creatures, keep quiet, or I will crush you to death." Now, the ants decided to teach the arrogant animal a lesson for life. They slowly crept under his trunk and spread to his ears and started biting him. The elephant became restless and started crying for help. None of the animals came forward to rescue him. They were happy to see him getting punished for his acts. He kept apologizing to the ants, but they continued to bite him. When they were sure that he has learned his lesson, they let him go and said, "This is how others feel when you hurt them." The ants marched off, leaving a wailing elephant there. Then on, the elephant never troubled anyone in the jungle. Morale of the story: pride and arrogance never go unpunished. Once upon a time, there lived two cats. They were good friends. One day, they found a loaf of bread in the street. They picked it and decided to break it into 2 equal parts. The other cat instantly agreed to the arrangement. When it came to deciding who would be the one to divide the loaf of bread, they could not come to a conclusion. While the cats were arguing, a monkey happened to be passing by. This monkey was hungry too. When he saw the two cats quarreling, he decided to help them. So, he divided the loaf of bread into 2 parts. But one of the pieces was larger than the other. Before the cats could say anything, the monkey decided to take a bite. But he purposefully took a large bite, and again the monkey slyly told them that he would make the other piece equal to the smaller one by taking a bite out of it. In that manner, the monkey finished, eating the entire loaf of bread all by himself. The cats then realized if only they hadn't been fighting among themselves, they would have had the loaf of bread.
Once upon a time, there lived a mouse. Mouse was having a very thought time. She had no food for many days and made strenuous efforts get her food. All her efforts went in vain. She looked everywhere to find her food. As the days passed by, she became very thin. One day, the moosie found a basket with corns. She also noticed a tiny hole in the basket, which was sufficient enough to move her in. She easily moved inside the hole. Since she had no foods for many days, she ate a large amount of corn. Without realizing she continuously ate more and more corns. She realized very later that she ate a lot more than she actually required. After eating a whole lot of corn, she became very fat. Satisfied with corns, the fat mouse tried to come out of the basket through the small hole. Unfortunately, the tiny hole could not accommodate the big mouse. The mouse started screaming, "Oh God, let me come out. How can I come out?" A rat, after hearing Mouse's screaming voice from the basket, asked her what happened. Mouse told the story and asked Rat a solution. Rat told, "If you want to come out the basket, wait for some time or even days to lose all your fat until you grow thin." Mouse started to starve now, but with lots of food to come out of the trap. Moral lesson: anything too much is good for nothing.
Once very long ago, the birds of a forest were ruled by the hornbill. He had proclaimed himself the king without anybody's consent. He was a cruel and unfair ruler. He was short-tempered and got angry very soon without any provocation. Innocent birds would get scolding from him without any faults. The birds did not like him and wanted to choose a new king. One day, they called a secret meeting of all the birds. The hornbill knew nothing of the meeting. The birds had chosen a tree quite far from the forest so that the hornbill would not get even a scent of the meeting. The agenda of the meeting was to choose a new ruler for them. All the birds were present at the meeting. There were parrots, bulbuls, woodpeckers, owls, crows, cranes, swans, etc. The birds discussed their problems. None of the birds wanted the hornbill to remain their king. They were all fed up of his cruel ways. Many names were suggested for the new king, and at last the bulbul was chosen to be their king. All the birds agreed to make the bulbul their king, as she was kind and gentle. She humbly accepted the offer. However, there was one problem before them: how to tell the hornbill that he was being dethroned. Whoever went to him with the news would be killed. An old owl was also present at the meeting. He said, "Don't worry about this problem. I have made a plan. To carry out my plan, I will need the help of our friend, the woodpecker. If you all trust me, let me try out." All the birds accepted his offer. The woodpecker agreed to help him. He took the woodpecker to a tree. He told him to peck at the strongest branch of the tree. Remain hidden and cut the branch. Stop pecking at it just when one blow is needed for the branch to fall. Thus instructing the woodpecker, he flew to the hornbill. The hornbill was just wondering where all the birds had gone. Seeing the owl, he said, "Where have all the birds gone today? There is nobody to attend upon me." The owl said, "Your Highness, all the birds want that you should prove your capabilities. We have decided to hold a branch breaking competition. If you succeed in breaking the branch, we will know your strength and power. However, if you do not succeed, and some other bird succeeds, he or she will be chosen our king." The hornbill was proud of his potentials. He said, "I am strong enough to break a branch. Take me to the venue of the competition, and I shall break the strongest of the branch." The owl guided him to the tree where he had hidden the woodpecker. All the birds of the forest were also present there. The owl selected a strong branch of the tree and said to the hornbill, "Your Highness, this is the branch you have to break." The hornbill was sure of his success. He at once started pecking at the branch. He tried for a long time, but could not break even a portion of the branch. Soon he grew tired. The owl said, "Your Highness, the stipulated time is over. You could not break the branch. The next participant is the bulbul. If she succeeds in breaking the branch, she becomes our king." The hornbill thought, "When I could not break the branch, how can such a delicate-looking bird break it?" So he agreed to the condition. The owl led the bulbul to the branch that had already been cut by the woodpecker. Only a last blow was needed to break it. The bulbul had to peck at it only twice, and the branch broke and fell to the ground. Everybody cried out with happiness and cheered the bulbul and proclaimed her their king. The hornbill was so ashamed of himself that he flew away from that forest and never showed his face again. The gentle and kind bulbul thanked all the birds for making her their king. She specially thanked the owl and the woodpecker. She justly ruled over the birds. The birds were happy to have such a kind and gentle king. Once in a jungle, there lived a lion. Lion was very proud and very vain. He called himself the king of all the animals, and he loved to stomp around the savannah, roaring and growling whenever he saw giraffe or hyena or elephant or gazelle or ape, to show them that he was the most important animal in the jungle. "I am your king," he roared, and all the other animals bowed to him. One day, Lion looked into the water of the lake and saw his reflection. "What a beautiful and noble creature I am," he thought. Lion posed in front of the glassy lake for hours, admiring himself, but he wanted to do more to prove to the other animals that he was their king. Put on his fancy robes, his jeweled crown, and all his gold and silver medals. His clothes were very heavy, but they made him look mighty and grand. "I am your king," he roared in delight. "I am your king." Lion sent out a message to all his animal subjects, to giraffe and hyena and elephant and gazelle and ape. He sent messages to all the animals living on the savannah or in the jungle, inviting them to a meeting in front of his palace, where they could admire him in all his finery. So the giraffe and the hyena and the elephant and the gazelle and the ape came to see Lion. And many more animals came as well, from the zebra in his black and white coat to the tiny beetle, who was so little that he had to walk on the side of the road so that the bigger animals would not step on him by mistake. I am small, I am little, people look down and can't see me, sang the beetle as he scurried through the tall grass beside the road. I am small, I am little, but inside I'm tall as a tree. When the animals were assembled, there came a mighty trumpet blast from Elephant, and Lion came forth in all his splendor, and all the animals bowed before him. I am your king, he roared. I am your king. Then Lion saw the tiny beetle, standing alone by the side of the road. The beetle was singing to himself as he watched the lion. I am small, I am little, people look down and can't see me, sang the beetle, as Lion strutted before his subjects. I am small, I am little, but inside I'm tall as a tree. Lion said to the beetle, You, beetle, bow before me. Beetle said, Your Royal Majesty, I know that I am small, but if you look at me closely, you will see that I am making a bow. Lion leaned over, peering down at the tiny beetle. His splendid robes, his jeweled crown, and his many medals made him so top-heavy that Lion wobbled as he loomed over the tiny beetle. Then Lion lost his balance and he fell over. His royal crown went flying off, and Lion rolled into a ditch filled with muddy water. All the animals laughed and laughed when they saw the muddy lion sprawled in the ditch. The bedraggled lion scurried away too. He was not so very mighty after all.
Upon a time, there lived a horse in a big jungle. He was very proud of himself. He saw a snail. Seeing how slowly the snail moved, the horse started teasing him. Hey, snail, shall we have a race? The horse asked. The snail was very angry with the horse. Okay, let's do it. We will race on Sunday, said the snail. The snail went home and called all the snails to discuss about this issue. He told everyone about the race. They made a plan to outsmart the horse. Since all the snails looked alike, they decided to confuse the horse with their intelligence. When Sunday came, they left home very early. They started hiding in places in little distance from each other, all the way from the starting point to the finishing line. The race started. The horse ran a little and then looked down. He saw the snail ahead of him. The horse increased his pace, but the snail was still ahead. The horse started running harder and faster. However hard the horse tried, the snail was still ahead of him. The poor horse finally gave up after trying really hard. Okay, I lose, said the humble horse. The snail laughed out loudly. Once upon a time, there lived an old lion. One day, an old lion realized that he was too old to hunt for food. The lion was sure he would soon die. He was very sad and went home. As he walked slowly home, the lion told a bird about his sad situation. Soon, everyone in the forest heard about the lion's situation. The other animals all felt sorry for the lion. So one by one, they came to visit the lion. The lion was old, weak, but very wise. As each animal came into his home, they were easy to catch and eat. Soon the old lion became happy and fat. One day, early in the morning, the fox came. The fox was very wise too. He slowly came close to the lion's home. Standing outside, he asked if the lion was feeling better. Hello, my best friend, said the lion. Is it you? I can see you very well. You are so far away. Come closer, please, and tell me some kind words, because I am old and will die soon. While the lion was talking, the fox was looking closely at the ground in front of the lion's house. Finally, the fox looked up and said to the lion, I am sorry, but I must go. I am very nervous because I see the footsteps of many animals going into your home, but I see none coming out again. Moral of the story: he is wise who is warned by the mistakes of other. Long ago, there was a donkey who stayed near the village. Everybody used to think that he was weak and useless. Once, he was roaming all around the forest. Suddenly, he found a lion's hide. Just then, he had an amazing idea. He thought to fool the other animals and people by wearing the lion's hide. So he took the lion's skin and covered himself with it. He started to walk around in the forest, wearing the lion's hide so that he could look like an actual lion. All the animals who saw him got scared and started running away from him. This assured him that his plan was working. Then he paid a visit to the village where he lived. All the villagers were scared of him. The donkey was enjoying all this, and he roamed around freely without any fear. He was very happy because now he didn't need to be scared of anybody. However, one day, as the wind blew strongly, the lion's hide that he was wearing flew off. The donkey's biggest secret was out. "This is a donkey, and we thought it was a lion," said the angry villagers. They chased the donkey out of their village, but he surely had last laugh.
Singh was a mighty lion who ruled over a thick, deep forest. He was very strong and big. The animals of the forest respected him. One day, a jackal came up to him and said, "Your Majesty, you are such a mighty ruler, but you have no attendants to wait upon you. I have come to you to offer my services to you. I hope you will accept my offer and make me your humble servant." Singh agreed to take him into his services. He said, "All right, if you really desire to serve me, you may live with me in my cave. Your duty will be to look for an animal that I can hunt. If you see any animal, you should inform me and say, 'O mighty one, come and shine forth in all your might.' I will there hunt the animal and eat its flesh. The leftover will be yours." The jackal accepted the offer and promised to perform his duties well. From that day onwards, he started living in the lion's cave. Every day, he would go out of the cave and look for some animals. If he sighted any animal, he would come running to the lion and say, "O mighty one, come and shine forth in all your might." The lion would then kill the animal and eat a major portion of its flesh. The jackal would eat the leftover. He was happy with what he got. He got his food without having to hunt for it. Months passed, and the jackal grew very fat and strong. He started comparing his strength with that of the lion. "Even I can kill animals. Then I will be able to eat the whole of my kill myself. Moreover, I can lead an independent life. I am really fed up of leading the life of a servant." The jackal then went to the lion, and one said, "Your Majesty, I have sincerely served you all these months. You also took care to provide me well. Under your care, I have grown quite fat and strong. Now, I feel that I can lead an independent life and hunt my own food. Therefore, I have come here to seek your permission to leave your cave and lead an independent life." The lion knew that the jackal had become proud of his strength. He realized that he was being foolish, but he also knew that the jackal would in no case listen to him. Therefore he said, "Well, my dear jackal, you have been a sincere servant. I have always tried to feed you well. So why do you want to go elsewhere when you can easily get food from me?" The jackal was, however, bent on going away. He said, "Your Majesty, I want to test my strength. I want to see if I will be able to live on my own or not." Seeing his firm decision, the lion said, "Well then, I have an idea. Let us change our position. You can just sit and relax, whereas I will go out looking for an animal. I will inform you if I see any animal. You can then kill the animal and eat your share. I will eat the leftover." The jackal thought it to be a very good plan. Next day, the lion went out of the cave and saw an elephant. He came to the jackal and informed him about the elephant. He said, "Sir, an elephant is sighted today. Please shine forth in all your might." The jackal went out and prepared to kill the elephant. He proudly walked and climbed up a rock. From that height, he jumped onto the elephant. But instead of falling on the elephant's back, he fell onto the ground. The elephant was quite shocked. He stepped over the jackal and killed him. Poor jackal! He lost his life due to his own folly. Once upon a time in a jungle lived a lion. Now, this lion was the king of the jungle. He had 3 assistants, the crow, the jackal, and the leopard. The lion and his assistants went everywhere together and hunted together. One day, As the four of them were looking for a prey, the lion sees a strange animal in the jungle. "Who is that?" the lion asks. So the crow decides to fly above and ask other animals about the strange animal. Soon enough, the crow returns with new information. The crow then informs the others that the strange animal is a camel. Those animals are found in deserts. And the camel in their jungle had been separated from his caravan and was now lost. I also heard that the flesh of the camel is extremely delicious. But the lion tells the others that the camel is not from their jungle, which makes the camel their guest. So they all agree not to kill the camel. They welcome the camel to their jungle and treat him as a guest. The camel was happy to be with them. Then one day, while the lion fighting with an elephant, he becomes injured. As a result, the lion could not go on hunts. Because of this, the three assistants could not eat either. Then one day, they again suggest to eat up the camel, but the lion does not agree. "He does not belong to our forest. I told him that I will protect him. I cannot do this." Then the shrewd animals suggest that if they persuade the camel to offer himself as a meal, then would the lion eat him? The lion agreed. So the animals that evening began to offer themselves to lion one by one. The lion refused to eat any of them. Seeing this, the camel too offered himself. He thought the lion would refuse him too, but that wasn't the case. The moment the camel offered himself, the lion at once killed it. All four of them enjoyed the camel's meat for days. Moral of the story: beware when in wicked company.